Snake Eyes. How appropriate for the Snake Eye deck.
Well, I never even considered that.
Okay, well, 7-0 on both teams.
Yep.
Interesting. I was just about to say, the only reason you would start with that is if you opened with the original Sinful Spoils.
I couldn't even tell what monster that was. It was so shiny. That was a Effect Veiler.
That is a nice, beautiful, original Ultimate Rare from Duelist Revolution. Anything to get into Ash. Okay, Daniel's feeling a little bit better because this Ash has been able to resolve. The question here is whether or not Chansey has any hand interactions, and it doesn't seem as though he does.
They're playing fairly quickly here.
Well, that's good. These players are 7-0 for a reason. You do not make it to 7-0 with this particular strategy with the field like this, not having a good amount of knowledge about what the strategy needs to do to succeed.
So Daniel starts off with a search for the Poplar searching into the Divine Temple of Snake Eye. Now, this has been like a moving trend where do you play the Divine Temple? And after last week's event, I think most people that are playing the Fire King Snake Eye strategy will be including the Temple just so they can answer Nibiru, just give you the proper follow-up. And the Spell and Trap Zone has been loaded with another copy of Ash.
Yeah, so the Divine Temple on the surface might not necessarily seem like the most important or powerful card, but I think the more you play the strategy, the more you understand the interactions, where it does this, that, it gives you the follow-up in the aftermath of Nibiru, and it also counteracts the mirror match really well with cards like Promethean Princess that can be special summoned during your turn.
Snake Eye Ash has been activated, sending the Poplar into the graveyard to summon out another monster from the deck, another Snake Eye monster.
I was about to say, it's probably going to be Oak because he hasn't gone into that, and he wants that in rotation.
Okay. And Oak will have an effect to special summon back one of the level ones in the graveyard or banish, and that's going to be a Poplar summon back onto the field.
And now he'll be able to send the Oak and the Ash to the graveyard to summon Flamebird.
That's great use of the cost there, since none of the cost used were actual monsters, or rather they were the ones tucked into the back. That's great resource management.
Absolutely. It also gives him an abundance of level 1 fire monsters, so when Flamebird hits the graveyard, he'll have access to basically anything that he needs for the follow-up.
I think it's also quite crucial to have more than just 2, because Flamberge does not target. If you do not have the proper number, you cannot resolve the effect.
Absolutely. I can't imagine DD Crow being in Chansey's deck, but who knows?
Who knows? I mean, DD Crow is more of a side option against Voiceless.
That's a good...
Okay, we went to SP, and the additional monster into the Promethean Princess. Flamberge effect summoning back the Ash and the Poplar.
This is interesting. Usually people go into IP. I mean, goes here into SP.
Pushing an SP provides a bit of a safety net, I would say.
Yeah, maybe Daniel's 7-0 because he has a different sort of view on what the opening turn should look like.
And it could be paying off now. We have to get rid of that Promethean Princess at some point in this combo. Are we seeing a Nibiru? Are we waiting on Chansey to have an interaction?
That he pulled Apollosa to the front, but that cannot be summoned, so hopefully he doesn't in fact go into it. All right, looks like he's going to go into Sunlight Wolf first.
So this is the climb up to climb back down. And, it seems like we're going to Heat Soul, the Heat Soul play.
Here's an interesting, important thing. I was hoping this came up at least once. It's actually really important to use your turn player priority to use the quick effect of Link Rebo in this situation, because it locks it in as Chainlink 1, and if Chansey was holding on to Nibiru, and he Nibiru'd there as Chainlink 2, you would actually have the ability to get Link Rebo onto the field, and then Nibiru would resolve with a token plus Link Rebo. If you do not use turn player priority and they activate Nibiru, if you chain Link Rebo at that point, Link Rebo is going to be tributed all the way with Nibiru. So whenever you have that Sunlight Wolf plus level 1 interaction, when you plan on bringing back Link Rebo, it's important to use your turn player priority.
Very powerful.
It allows you to have 2 monsters on the field in the aftermath of Nibiru. Now, it's a little bit more convoluted here because Flamebird is on the field and whatnot, but generally speaking, that's something that you'd want to consider if you were planning on bringing back.
So we are seeing the Deco Talker Heat Soul getting an additional card. We're just paying life points. That's 1,000 life points per card. I mean, it's definitely worth it. I mean, even Upstart Goblin gives your opponent 1,000 life points. Is that the cost of one card? Who knows? Now, one thing to keep in mind here is that there is both Flamberge and the Divine Temple. If your opponent special summons a monster, or rather summons a monster onto the field, you can just push the monster out without relying on Flamberge if they have an answer for that.
Yeah, that's a great point. So something like an Infinite Impermanence as the 6th card for Chansey isn't necessarily going to stop SP Little Knight from hitting the field. I really love Deco Talker, especially when you pair it with Sunlight Wolf. You're getting the add back and now draw and then draw again. You know, it's 2, 3, 4 cards just totally replenishing your hand after making your opening play.
Now, the reach that Chansey needs is lower now because we did commit into the additional life points for those draws. And one thing to know about Deco Talker Heatsel's attack points, whatever it points to, will help it gain additional attack points, 500 per arrow.
Oh, spinning it around.
Yeah, he's got to play it right side up. This is going to throw him off tempo a little bit.
Now he's using the effect of Fire King Island.
Interesting. That's going to be allowed, according to that thumbs up I just saw.
This will be interesting to see if Chansey finds a good way of utilizing the naturally drawn Fire King Island, because, you know, in a perfect world, you're getting it, I would say, for free, but through the effects of Ponix.
And there's the upside down Arvada. He's just so used to playing with his cards upside down. He usually memorizes all the cards and lets the opponent read it. And that's what we're seeing right here. And we're going to activate the Runics, Sacred Runics. Maybe this is not the seat for Chansey.
There goes the Arvada having to be flipped around too.
Yeah, he's going to flip his whole hand upside down, back to normal. I think this just might be something that he's just so used to doing. Sacred Fire King Garunix activates the effect. We're going to be able to destroy a fire monster in the deck, but that's also going to allow the Divine Temple of Snake Eye to special summon out a monster.
So this is going to put SP from the Spell and Trap card zone into the field.
Likely in the middle zone just to help boost the attack of the Deco Talker Heatsoul. But we're also seeing a chain. Infinite Impermanence. This chain is Chainlink 1 on the Garunix, Chainlink 2 on the Divine Temple, Chainlink 3 on the Infinite Impermanence.
So he's doing this to cut off the ability of going into Kieran, but it looks like he actually just has it naturally in hand.
Oh, that's really good. Now, since the graveyard monster for Chansey is the Arvada.
Yeah, now the Arvada is going to summon to the field, and he's going to be able to destroy something.
Ooh, that's huge.
He's probably going to destroy...
Wow, so many Kirans. All 3 Kirans in rotation.
What would you destroy here? It's kind of an interesting choice.
Not 3 Kirin, 2 Kirin in rotation. Yeah. The Garunix is still available. Likely, I think...
Flameburge?
Chainlink 1 Kirin, Chainlink 2 Ponix.
Possibly. Oh, there's also a Ponix.
Wow.
I think Chansey just had the entire Fire King engine. His hand is just Fire King.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's allowing him go into SP.
Now, the destruction effect of Kirin does not target. So
no.
Summon and destroy. You don't have to destroy, but you can destroy. And the non-targeting part is great.
You said 5, right?
Yeah.
I say Flameburge on the assumption that he's going to be able to push through and win the game, even if Flameburge's effect resolves. Though he's going to have the Arvada on the field.
Mm-hmm. That negation is really, really good.
So that's why I was thinking maybe you go into Flame. It doesn't necessarily feel natural to just willingly destroy it, but... Okay, he's going to go with the Deco Talker, which is also a respectable play as well.
Yep.
Now he's going to search out Sanctuary just to get out of his deck and also give him a face-up card if he ever happens to draw the original Sinful Spoils.
There could be a chance he's playing, oh no, just Sanctuary. I was hoping that maybe we would see Circle the Fire King, and that would just re-enable just more stuff out of the graveyard.
Yeah, we saw that last turn, or last round.
Do we have access to, we do have access to Snake Eye Ash. Now we're looking at maybe potentially just pushing the Flamber Dragon into the back, and we're also safe. We're very safe right now from here. We have the Arvada. I think a lot of if you're going to be playing Fire King Snake Eye, you have to be able to understanding manipulating Arvada is very key. It's almost like your own little version of quick access Appaloosa.
Yeah, it's one of those things where we were talking about, what are the advantages of playing the Fire Kings with the Snake Eye? One is the ability to play Kirin and potentially Circle. Another is just having Arvada, especially in a format where there's so many hand interruptions. Having a card like that you can access so easily through your engine to shut off some of those hand interactions are so so critical.
But Daniel did opt to go into the Deco Talker Heat Soul, and with the Deco Talker Heat Soul, you're digging into more and more hand interaction, and maybe he got a pair of maybe Nibiru plus another negation that would turn off the Arvada. We don't know where this is going to go, and Daniel has a full hand.
So we see that Logan has already taken one of the matches here at the B spot. So we have one result in for the Casino After team. And then here, Sanctuary was sent to the graveyard with Snake Eye Ash's effects, whether it's through Ash or any of the other Snake Eyes that allow you to special summon a Snake Eye from your hand or deck, or through Original Sinful Spoils. Just having a face-up card on the field, even if you've already searched out Fire King Island or Naturally Druid in the case here, it's still important and valuable.
And the actions that just occurred, Flamberge has pushed the opponent's Flamberge into the Spell and Trap zone, so right now we're looking at an empty field.
See, it's important to do that before utilizing Poplar in any way, because you don't want your opponent to be able to use Flamberge to special summon one of your Spell or Trap.
Right, and this is the mirror match. We are sharing graveyard, and there's tons of fire option for Chansey to take. We can even get additional draw just by taking the Deco Talker Heat Soul as well.
Yeah, that would be an unfortunate occurrence for Daniel, yeah. It's one, I guess,
but is
one of the liabilities of playing
Yep.
of the fire-based strategy with Deco Talker is your opponent can just take it.
Yep.
In this very fire-centric format with Hida.
But is there enough damage for Chansey right now? I mean, Daniel paid life points, I believe, twice?
At least once. I presume he used it. There's no reason you wouldn't use it in at least draw phase. I can understand in main phase not wanting to play into talents.
If we look at the numbers now, there's enough damage just right here.
Yeah. Even if Daniel was actually at 8,000.
I'm at 6, he's at 7.
Battle.
Yeah,
Maybe.
we're going to battle.
Okay, he allowed him to go to battle. The only way around this is if he had something like Infinite Impermanence and Nibiru to stop the Arvada negation. But he certainly, obviously here, didn't have that.
I think
I can't see any reason why you wouldn't.
Hey,
Especially because we've seen cards like Summon Limit this weekend really play dividends out of the side deck for some of these strategies.
Yep. Daniel contemplating his hand. Seems pretty content.
Hopefully it doesn't involve normal summoning Effect Veiler.
oh, wow.
Did he just pass?
Draw.
He passed on an empty board.
Oh, wow. That is
stand by me.
certainly not what he was hoping to see. I really feel bad for Daniel. His opening
thought-
turns began with summoning Effect Veiler and passing.
I thought the hand was much better. But maybe that was just trying to not to telegraph what you have in your hand, and sometimes you gotta just fake the emotion.
It looks like Chansey has Bonfire at least in his hand, so we already know he has at least some access to the engine. Now, we presume Daniel's going to have a variety of hand interruptions if he's passed like that, so even though Chansey has a card like Bonfire, it doesn't necessarily mean his opening play here is going to go uninterrupted.
That's going to really depend on the siding pattern for Daniel. We're going to normal summon out the Snake Eyes Poplar.
Oh, sorry.
Beautiful QCR.
The upside down habit continues.
If you have the QCR one, maybe you should be able to play it any way you want. Upside down, right side over.
Well, not right side over.
I
That's in
understand.
defense mode now. Oh, we're going to immediately go into a Linker Rebo. Well, we're seeing the Poplar being placed back into the Spell and Trap zone.
It looks like Chansey might show off what you're able to do with it, just a single Poplar. And getting the results over at Table C, we have Tej, who actually was able to win. So although in this particular game that we're watching, we see Chansey up 1-0, his teammates have unfortunately lost their first game. So it looks like Logan and Tej are up in their matches.
Remember, this is Team YCS Las Vegas, not regular YCS Las Vegas. So your team will also need to, pull their own weight.
So Daniel can open with Effect Veiler as his opening play in game 1 and here pass opening up in game 2 and still win the match if his teammates can pull through. But that's not to say that this particular game's over yet either. If you've passed, there has to be some degree of interruption in his opening hand.
I kind of want to circle back to the siding pattern, because when you go first, maybe you don't want that many hand disruption. You might have taken some out, and if that is the case, this would mean an even worse hand.
I can't then imagine what his hand would be. Like, what would it be if you do not start with absolutely anything? It actually looked like his hand had quite a few monsters in it, too. Virtually all of the spell cards you would have activated.
Yeah.
Fire, Wanted, etc.
Unless we're looking at an Imperm and Nibiru, and maybe those were the cross-out targets that you just happened to open both of them. Maybe it's time to kind of readjust the tempo so that maybe we can get a little bit of value for those cards before committing onto our own field, so we can minimize our losses.
So we saw the original Sinful Spoils allowing him to summon Ash. Ash allowed him to summon Poplar. Well, search Poplar and then special summon Poplar, because Poplar was not special summoned from the hand yet this turn. And then he was able to use those with the Ash effect to go into Flamebird's Dragon.
I think Chansey is right now contemplating that maybe Daniel does have a Nibiru. We're going to work around it. We're going to battle first. I don't think he has an option to essentially deal 8,000 damage in one swing. And so we're going to shorten the reach so that future combos do not need to push that far.
Especially because Daniel didn't put any monster attributes in his graveyard. So it's not like there's a fire monster or even a dark monster there that you could use with a charmer to link on up to a 3 really quickly. So it looks like Chansey is pretty content here with setting 2 to his spell and trap card zone.
Very interesting. Maybe those are double infinite impermanents. There's a chance of that for Chansey.
A chance for Chansey?
Chance for Chansey.
Let's see if Daniel Shogun can show us what he has.
I see an Arvada in hand. Okay, that's not too bad unless that's the only normal summon you have and you have to play into the field. That's not going to feel very, very good. Normal summon Fire King Avatar Arvada.
They're playing with Fire Kings.
I bet you guys know.
No. Okay.
A little banter from the players.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's a card he definitely did not have on his opening turn.
Yeah, we definitely would have seen it already.
I presume he's going to discard a hand interruption. The way he's thinking about this. Nope. Oak. Okay, that's one of the cards he could have opened with. Oh, so we opened with Oak Arvada.
Yeah.
Okay.
It seems like he may have opened a bunch of the one-ofs in the deck.
Yes.
Trigger.
So maybe Oak Arvada.
Yeah.
Yep.
What else could there be? Maybe Disruption of Hand. Maybe there's a
Maybe
Effect Veiler.
Next.
Garunix. Oh, that's another tough one.
another
There's
one
a
that-
lot of cards that you just can't activate.
Yeah. But here that 1-for-1 is going to be able to summon Ash, which now allows him to search and special summon Poplar, and now Poplar's effect is going to resolve.
Maybe playing with that tempo maybe scared Chansey from committing. I mean, Chansey could have kept pushing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
But I think he just valued passing here and allowing him to special summon the Ash for follow-up from his spell and trap card zone.
Now, with the 2 face downs, we haven't seen any interaction with the 2 face down cards that Chansey has. And, oh, wow, okay, that's an interesting way to use the Snake Eyes Flamber Dragon. Remember, any of the monsters in the spell and trap zone can be taken, and he chose to take away the Poplar from Daniel.
Instantly, and now he gets to search his deck for, it looks like, the Divine Temple himself, because he special summoned a Poplar this turn. So some of the important interactions, we see these players at 7-0 understanding the ins and outs of their strategy, especially when we see these two combating one another head-to-head.
I think there's a good chance that Daniel does not actually have another fire monster in hand. Otherwise, that could have been negated, but maybe he really needs that Snake Eye Ash.
Yeah, he's foregoing the Arvada to go here into a co-linked Nightmare Phoenix.
So now we get to see what Chansey has put face down. If it reveals a spell card, it could spell that, hey, both of those cards could be bluffs.
It's possible.
Oh,
It's a Typhoon.
Typhoon.
And he gets to draw.
Well, that is a co-linked Nightmare Phoenix. If there was an Ash Blossom Joy Spring, that can be negated.
That's an interesting card, Typhoon. So I guess if you go Sanctuary, put Field Spell,
Trigger Flamebird.
anytime during the turn you can activate it and just totally wipe your opponent's field.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Okay. And I believe a Flamber. Oh, he opened a Flamber Dragon as well. I
Yes.
think that was the cost that he discarded to get the 2
okay.
mods.
Yeah, it's hard to see.
It was very. I mean, opening Flamber doesn't feel great.
Yeah. So his opening hand was Flamebird's Dragon, Arvada, Oak.
Yeah, that was a very clunky hand.
Yeah, very clunky.
Yeah.
But managing to play out of it, no longer clunkying. I mean, being able to dig out of that particular situation is just shows how skilled these players are.
Yes, understanding exactly how to navigate. And I did see a Nibiru in his hand too, so that also was one of those opening cards which obviously doesn't do anything going first. So that totally explains why he decided to open and pass. It also kind of explains why he didn't use Nibiru, because it's not like Chansey's field was all that threatening as constituted. And if he used Nibiru, it would have triggered the Flamebird's Dragon, so there was no point in doing so. So you can understand why he held it back.
Yep. I mean, both players reading each other very well.
Which is important. If your opponent passes to you and then plays 1-for-1, you can infer basically the entire hand for that. Because they would have activated on the first turn, they didn't, then you can see what they discarded, and from there try to determine exactly what they might have in their hand. It's really important to do so. A lot of free information when something like that happens.
And now Daniel has activated Wanted, the Seeker of Sinful Spoils, adding the Diabell Star, the Black Witch, and we're just seeing the line play out.
Okay, so Effect Veiler was another card. So he either drew that off of the Nightmare Phoenix, or that was another one of the cards in his opening hand, which means he opened Effect Veiler Nibiru, which is, you know, if you're going to open and pass the first turn, going first, it's an ideal combination. Obviously, it's been a classic combination ever since Nibiru was released. But presumably, he probably drew that off Phoenix. Oh, here we go.
Counter Nibiru.
Missed played earlier.
And there's a Flamberge that's also hitting the graveyard. That is going really well for Chansey. However, the table scores have been updated. Table B, Logan takes a 2-0. So Casino After is up 1 match point.
Oh, that's important. Put Poplar in the right graveyard. But yes, Logan, it looks like, has taken that down at table B, which means if Tej can win at table C, we might not see the conclusion here. So we'll root to at least see the conclusion of this game.
Well, then Casino After would secure the top cut spot, going 8-0, but it's not over yet. Let's take a look at the Wanted. Wanted has been activated. We're going to be putting back the original Sinful Spoil and likely drawing 1 card. This is the aftermath of Nibiru, after all. I think we've seen so many rocks just land onto the field today.
Daniel doesn't look terribly pleased, though, with the situation that he's found himself in. It's been a really rough match for him. Things just haven't lined up.
Yeah. I mean, you never really want to pass on the opening turn because it does telegraph quite a lot of your cards. We know the cards that you don't want to see, and Chansey could take a wild guess. These are probably the cards that he already has.
And phase effect.
So it looks like Chansey is electing to utilize his Link Karibo to send Poplar to the grave, which now allows him to put any fire monster into spell and trap card zone, which is, of course, going to be Flamebirch Dragon.
Ooh, that could be a really, really strong follow-up.
Go to main phase.
Now we need to find a way of getting that into the graveyard, which shouldn't be that difficult for him to do. He already has 3 monsters on the field as currently constituted, so he can go into Promethean Princess if he wanted to, and then immediately summon back a Poplar, and then Poplar allows him to search through his deck. We also know that he has Temple as well. He could also do this too, going to a Hida.
Wow.
There's a lot of different ways he could get up to
Yeah,
Promethean Princess.
Speaking of the Hita,
Effect target Arvada.
we're going to use the effect of Hita to target the Arvada. Now, this is very crucial. This is going to allow a negate of a monster effect thanks to your opponent's monsters. Again, the graveyard, you can't put too many fire monsters in there, especially the ones that have really amazing effects. That Hita is just going to pull it right over.
They're all liabilities.
That's right. We're going to see normal summon of the legendary Fire King Ponix. Now, did Chansey side into different cards? No, we're going to go straight into Fire King Island.
It's a pretty common thing to side out Sanctuary going second.
Yep.
Set Wanted.
So that's what we'll assume that he did here, or else obviously he would have searched it. I didn't necessarily see what he drew for the turn. I can't imagine the odds of him drawing that single copy of Sanctuary if he did leave it in his deck, but it's not impossible, of course.
Now, is there a way to get the damage? I believe that token is not that small either.
I felt like the Nibiru hit what seemed like 5 monsters on the field.
Yeah. So. Promethean Princess, Bestower of Flames, has been link summoned onto the field. We can special summon back additional monster. We're going to use the Princess effect, summoning back the Hita. I mean, there are certain things you can attempt to do. I'm not sure.
Be careful if we go into Zelantis, that Arvada.
Yeah, it goes into the. maybe that's exactly what he
wants to do, though. It's really convoluted when you have to Charmer one of your opponent's monsters so that Zelantis can be special summoned and trigger the Raging Phoenix, but this might be a situation where we'll actually see that interaction come up.
Yeah, because if you give back the Arvada, because the token's not summoning back. Token, when they get banished, they're just non-existent anymore. And we are seeing the Salamangreat Raging Phoenix. That's a link using one monster. That likely is going to be the Zelantis. But the Arvada Negate is also going to be live.
Oh, yes.
Unless, of course, Daniel doesn't have a hand. Then that's a different story.
I think he has a copy of Nibiru. So if he goes for this play and passes the Arvada back to Daniel, it's going to make it so that his Nibiru is live.
But alternatively, Chansey doesn't necessarily have to use the World Sea Dragon effect. If he can perform one additional Link summon and get a co-link just from this particular point, we can destroy the token and then push for a lot of damage.
Yeah, so don't tunnel vision into assuming the only way to win is through Zelantis' sort of quote-unquote natural effect like that. It has another effect, too, that also destroys.
Phoenix. Yeah, my bad.
Okay. I mean, there's still a chance.
But you saw the card that I drew.
No, he did put the... Oh, I think there's a possibility that we may go into a Nightmare Phoenix using the Arvada. That will create the co-link already over the Salamangreat in the graveyard. That...
This is what I meant to do.
I think this is what we're seeing.
I think he showed the Infinite Impermanence on top of his deck like that, though, because it's probably the case that Tej has already won down at table C. So I think it's a little bit of let's just sort of see what would have happened.
Okay.
Which is exactly, I think, what you were just commenting on.
And we get the Phoenix. Phoenix, what a great card. Being able to draw a card as well as get rid of the one in the back. That is just a wanted. And we're going to activate the wanted, of course, to get back Diabell Star. Chansey also gets the draw because that's a co-link Nightmare Phoenix too.
And we know that it's an Infinite Impermanence because, again, I presume that the only reason that card would have been revealed is because the match is, for all intents and purposes, over.
And we are using the effect here to get rid of that token. And Nibiru comes down before the entering of battle phase. Yeah, it's not over. We're just seeing rock and rock again.
Yeah. Rock every single turn of this game, it seems like.
Now we're seeing the bonfire. Oh, the set card was a bonfire.
So there was a bluff. I can respect a bluff and a typhoon.
I can respect that.
I can respect that.
Oh, okay, my bad.
It wasn't wanted, it was,
Okay. My bad.
Oh, it doesn't have the original.
Ooh, it's banished, yeah.
I think that's only Divine Temple that he has access to now.
YCS competitors, and that is time in the round.
Oh, he doesn't have another card. He's going to go to Fire King Island. Well, at least Fire King Island still provides with an additional follow-through, being able to destroy the Snake Eye Ash, add additional cards. I think we got a little peek of Daniel's hand. I think he also has a Fire King Island too.
Yes, probably.
We are going into Sacred Grunix. Sacred Grunix, now activating, destroying another card. Kirin?
Yep.
Now make no mistake, there are multiple Kirins in the Fire King deck. Make sure you write that in. Well, write that in correctly, not incorrectly. Write that in correctly.
Yes. We've heard some horror stories this weekend about the opposite of that happening.
Yeah, be very careful.
So now Ponix gets special summoned off the Kirin.
I wonder if he still has that reach because we didn't enter battle phase. That Nibiru came down before battle phase.
Is true.
This is still main phase 1.
So now he is choosing to destroy the Nibiru with Kirin's effect.
I think he can still get it. Yeah, I think there's still that Raging Phoenix in the graveyard
there is.
too. If we're able to destroy any fire monster on our own side,
yeah.
it's going to feel pretty good.
Damage extra. Oh, okay.
Well, also remember, Daniel's not at full life. He's at 43. We destroyed a Kier. That's a 39 Karunix. There's enough. There is enough damage. There we go.
Chansey is able to take that game.
Chansey taking the seat number 1. The